Hey everyone, this is Oldbackpac, the tank player from the Gankbush squad, and today we're doing how to tank on E.T.C. And we're going to show this with my E.T.C play versus J-How in one of our quick match games. It was Gankbush squad versus J-How, which is a fun game to watch, and we're going to see how I was able to affect the team fights. So first, let's talk about the talents of E.T.C. Fortunately for E.T.C, he only has one really good talent build, and that is level 1 is almost always Prod Rock. There are some cases where you go Guitar Hero, like on BOE, but it's almost always Prod Rock. If gloves are available, you get them. Level 4, it's almost always Loudspeaker, because you want extra peel. At 7, it's Echo Pedal for the more wave clear, because ETC's wave clear is terrible. At 10, there's Mosh Pit and Stage Dive. Unless you're playing at a very high level, like Master or Grandmaster, the coordination required for Stage Dive isn't there. So I almost always go with Mosh Pit, just because it's such a game-changing ultimate, and it works so much better at levels Master and down that you can really get a lot of value out of it. And just the threat of a Mosh Pit is incredibly valuable. It makes other opponents' heroes hold back heroics. Just having it present and never casting it already gives you a lot of power. At 13, it's almost always going to be Face Melt. And at 16, all three of these talents are viable: Showstopper, Aggressive Shredding, and Imposing Presence. It depends if the enemy team has Sustained damage. If you really want Aggressive Shredding. If they have Auto Attackers, Imposing Presence. If they have a lot of burst, you go Showstopper. It's really based upon what the enemy team comp has. And level 20, once again, Tour Bus and Death Metal and Bolt of Storm and Storm Shield. Almost all of them are viable, except for the Storm Shield. But Death Metal is my favorite. It's an uninterruptible mosh pit, and it lets you play really aggressively and die and still win team fights. This is a scene right here that's going to really showcase how to peel as ETC. You can see that it's early game, it's level 2, and it would start off with me as ETC behind the wall. This is because as ETC, I'm laning versus Zul Jin and Morales, and there's absolutely no reason for me to be in front. It's just free damage for me to take from Zul Jin. And right now, as I play the video, you're going to see that the Vala from top lane rotates down, and we started to have a little bit of a skirmish, a 3v3. You'll notice that as it starts, and now we stop, we'll see that the Arthas has started to engage the Vala, and Vala's backing up. And so the ETC places himself in between the damage dealer Zul'jin and Arthas. And as we continue the video right now, we'll see that Zul'jin's backed up, and now you'll see that I've stunned both Zul'jin and Morales. And this means that Vala basically can't die in this team fight. I've essentially separated the damage dealer from the tank, which gives the Vala and the Radar free reign to attack the Arthas without any fear of dying. When we continue the video, we'll see that they've been peeled off and everyone basically lives, and gives Vala the ability to re-engage on the Zul'jin. Then Arthas has to make this awkward walk around to get the team fight, and we get a kill. About the 242 mark, you'll see that when I go in for the slide, I slide Morales and not the Arthas. That's because Morales is going to do a lot of single target healing to Arthas. But if she's stunned, her Q goes onto a 3-second cooldown, thus letting us secure the kill on Arthas. After we secure the kill on Arthas, you'll see that a very good Morales grenade comes out, pushes me back, and causes the 1-for-1 trade. A little bit unfortunate, but the end goal of separating the team worked. Now we're going to talk about ganking in the early game lanes. ETC is one of the best gankers just because he has a stun and displacement. So once someone is basically caught out, you can really help disposition him to really force the kills. And look right here, we'll see that we just got a kill on Arthas, so we then have a lot of map control. We have a 4v5 situation, we can roam anywhere we want. And on the mini-map, we'll see that both the top temple is still being contested by Falstad, and he is pushed out fairly far from his lane. This is a premier gank opportunity. So when we play the video right now, you'll see that all of us mount up, and we all go to engage on the Falstad. If he pushes forward, we can get this gank pretty easily. And he does, he stays forward. It comes with a push, and Vala comes up with follow-up stun. An easy gank, thus guaranteeing us both the top temple and more map control. And that's how you get ganks with ETC. You watch as he's pushed out when you have map control, and you rotate through the Fog of War and get the kill. Now let's talk about how to mosh pit. When it first comes to mosh pitting, you have to realize who can interrupt you. And on the opposing team, they only have 2 interrupts. There's Falstad's Gust and Morales' Grenade. So if you ever get both Morales and Falstad in a mosh pit, it will be a full channel guaranteed. If, however, there's a case where, say, Falstad's not there, he's split soaking, or Morale's grenade is on cooldown, you can also do it, but then you're watching cooldowns to know when you can possibly go in. And right in the situation, we see that we're at even talent tiers, and we have 5 men in the middle, and the opposing team only shows 3, but we know Falstad is up top deep pushing the lane. This is a great time for us to initiate a fight. And so you'll see here, as I play the video now, I as E.T.C go up through the flank in the top to try to get some sort of a flank on the enemy team. And they don't see me, and you see they all stop right here. We see that we have 3 of the people about to group up at a choke point. There's Morales and Zul'jin. So my main target here is to get the Morales and Zul'jin into the mosh pit. If this happens, there's absolutely no way it can be interrupted. And here we see, going for the Q, and I get all 4 of them in the mosh pit. Yes, Morales walks into it, helps us out, but he still did a 4-man mosh pit. Granted, no one died, but the idea was to land it and then give us a huge initiate in that team fight. The second slide thereafter was pretty bad, but that's okay. And we end up winning this with a good D.Va bomb, as she places her D.Va bomb in the center of the team, giving us another kill. And after that kill, we're 2 men up, we're at 15 each, and gives us a nice boss push, which we'll all go to soon thereafter, thus giving us more of an advantage on the map, letting us snowball. Now we're going to cover how to scout properly. And right now in the game, we're in the mid to late game. We're both level 18. We'll start 18 and 17. And you'll see that the bottom team just captured the bottom camp, and they're in the bottom lane. And we have both Vala and D.Va pushing out mid, getting experience. And this means that if the team were to come and rotate on us, they have 2 angles of attack. From the left side of this bush, on the left side screen where the E.T.C icon is, and below us. My job as the tank is to really guard the flank. And so you'll see that you'll see that I move into this bottom bush. And I just sit here, and I wait. And this is how you scout. You watch the enemy team, and you just make sure that your flank can't be picked upon. And there, Tassadar comes, and Zul'jin would have came as well. If E.T.C was not there to give sight, it would have gotten an easy kill off of one squishies like D.Va or Vala. That's what I really wanted to showcase how to scout and when you should be scouting. When you know the enemy team has to come from a certain angle, like their most optimal way of getting a squishy out of position was through that one lane, and it's your job as a tank to sit there and make sure your backline isn't dove upon. Let's talk about death metal. Death metal is a 5-second uninterruptible stun that happens upon E.T.C's death. It's a really powerful ability that lets you utilize your death to maximum value and usually turn the team fight in your favor. In this part of the game, it's level 22 to level 20. The red team being down 1 man, so 4v5. Zagara died, so this is a great time to back up and just defend your core. And we also see that Tassadar is near our bruiser camp, which means the enemy team is probably near our bruiser camp, and so we should let it go. However, what's going to happen is my allies will contest the camp, and we're going to have to fight a outnumbered team fight. So as I played the video, you'll see that once again the whole 5-man team is there and the fight's occurring. Let's stop here. We'll see that Rhaegar already blew his ultimate on Vala to keep her alive, but luckily the enemy team is grouped up around this bush. It's a prime mosh pit opportunity. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to dive as hard as possible to try to get the medic and the Zul'jin in the mosh pit, and hopefully anyone else who's there in the area. So we go in, we cast the mosh pit, trying to get as many people as possible. We'll see that I get 2 men in the mosh pit, removing both the main damage dealer and a support from the team fight, giving us a better chance. And as we play along, we'll see that Falstad flies in, and Gus debrates it. At this point, we'll see that the E.T.C is at about 10% health, so he's going to die. To best utilize your death, you just want to walk into the most important members of the enemy team. In this case, it's Morales and Zul'jin. And boom, E.T.C dies and gets a 3-man mosh pit, hoping to peel for the team, but by that point, it's already over, and we lose the team fight, and eventually the game. But the point I want to show is that with death metal, you can be very aggressive with your deaths and just sit next to the enemy team. And if we had the Vala live that, and maybe the D.Va was there earlier, we may be able to turn the team fight, but we weren't. We ended up losing this game to J-How, who played actually really well. Alright guys, and that's it. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this small little segment of how to play E.T.C. We covered early game ganking, peeling, mosh pitting, death metals, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you like this new form of review, please leave some comments down below, and of course, if you liked what I've talked about, please subscribe.